Hey everyone, this is going to be a little bit of a different video. We're going to talk a little bit about the big giant YouTuber Markiplier because he recently released this video which I thought was important for all of you to kind of like see and get my opinion on about like what happens when you achieve success. And this is something that's really important, especially a lot of you that want to make some money and build your own business and build some wealth. I'm going to kind of share my story. Talk a little bit about Markiplier, and I'll just show you just some quick clips here from him.
You spend so much time looking at the top of the hill, you don't think what you're gonna do when you get there. And here I am now with almost 17 million people about to subscribe, and I'm trying to comprehend what that means.
So I'm going to talk about a few concepts here, one of which I call the moving target. I'll get to that in a second, but this is a concept I call actualization. And what happens when you actually achieve success, and especially people that are artists and creative, so many of them, when they actually achieve that level of success, they become satisfied and kind of unhappy, not necessarily with their work, but like what to do with their lives. And I'm really glad that Markiplier made this video because a lot of people that are looking to attain success, like as he said, they don't really know what to do when they actually achieve it. Like I think Markiplier here says he feels lost.
I just feel lost.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm aimlessly wandering, and I'm tired of it.
Yeah.
Like I'm tired of that feeling. I'm tired of that feeling of, just staying in limbo. I'm tired of seeming like I'm not going anywhere, spinning my wheels.
So this is something that I talk about in my upcoming program course, and if you purchase Stock Market one, you're gonna get this one free, and it's giant. That's why it's taken so long. Yeah, so I call it the moving target, and why a lot of business people are a lot happier. A lot of successful business people are happier than the successful artists or creative types or people like that. I'll just give you an example. A lot of the times when people like just actors or singers or whatever, and they become that super success, you see that a lot of the times, not all the time, but a lot of the times, they have this downfall because they've achieved that level of success, and they know that there's this ceiling, and they can't really go much higher, and they don't really know what to do. And I know a lot of you watching or listening to this in podcast are, you're probably thinking like, oh, like boo-hoo, like success. I think Markiplier says that, like, boo-hoo, you successful people, you're so wealthy and you have this great lifestyle. But it's this psychological problem knowing that you're kind of at the peak of your life, or you think you're at the peak of your life. For a lot of artists, like, if you're one of the most famous singers or actors or whatever in the world, or creative people in the world, you can't really do much else, and you can't really go much higher. Like if you're a singer, you can't. If you have 1 billion people that know your name, you're at the peak. Like you won't reach like 7 billion people. That's just not how it works. And so we're gonna kind of bring this back to business people, and why I think a lot of business people that are successful I'm speaking about entrepreneurs, not necessarily like Wall Street guys. That's completely different. Why a lot of business people are happy, I think a large reason with that is because they're never satisfied, including myself and like anyone online. Like Gary Vee always says that, like, he's happy, but he's never going to be satisfied. Like even when he wants to buy the New York Jets, he might not ever do that, or he might do that. And when he does do that, okay, the next step is he wants to win a Super Bowl. Okay, then he wants to win multiple Super Bowls. And then, okay, maybe he wants to buy a different sports team. Like, there's that moving target. Now I'm going to bring this back to me and what that means. So when I started my journey when I was 17, everyone knows I had this corporate job. I've mentioned a bunch of times, making, $30, $35 an hour, teenager. More than a lot of 30-year-olds are making, 40-year-olds are making. And like, it was a great job, nothing wrong with it, but it wasn't what I was meant to do. Like I wasn't really happy with what I was doing. Like it's hard to explain. I was interested in it, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. So I quit that job. I tried starting, the 20 businesses. Everyone's heard me say that before. And then, 3 have been successful. 17 have burned out in fucking flames. But right before those successes started happening, I did have this mindset where like I was expecting myself to kind of graduate and then go into a shitty job making $25,000 to $35,000 a year or $40,000 a year. And then after I did that, $25,000 to $35,000 a year job after a while, then I could start my own businesses because I'd have enough money. And then we'd kind of go from there, and then I would start all these businesses and all this stuff, right? And so at the very beginning of that, when I thought I would end up with some sort of shitty job, I seriously, like, my end game goal was like, if by the time I'm 25 to 28 to 30 years old, if I could be fully self-employed, not reliant on anyone, and make like 40 grand a year, I would be happy with that. And that was my goal when I started this. I mean, I started, I guess, last year on this journey. And you guys know, like, I got into real estate. I got my license and started becoming self-employed and started doing YouTube stuff. And also last year I was doing, consulting and working for a real estate company. So I wasn't self-employed, but eventually I started, working harder. Business kept growing and growing and growing. And then, within a few months of me starting this journey with that goal, I became self-employed, and my original goal was $40,000. And now there's a really real possibility I could do well over $100,000 this year being self-employed. And so, like, this is the moving target. So originally my goal when I started this all, become self-employed and pretty much survive, right? Become self-employed, even making $25,000 a year and just being able to, like, whatever, fucking pay rent and live, that would have been nice. And then it was $40,000, meaning that I could live okay and somewhat comfortably. And then once I hit that, I had to move my target up. And then my next goal was $100,000. Which I could do this year, and there's a very real possibility. We'll see. So I've moved my target up to $400,000 a year, something that is to me attainable, but it would be kind of difficult to do in the next year. And so I think that's important for all of you to know, the moving target. Like, what should you do when you hit your goals? Well, the thing is, when you hit your goal, you gotta make a new one right away, or else you're gonna be so unhappy. And that's what Markiplier said this too. Like, he has so many ambitions, he doesn't really know what to do, and he hasn't really done any of that, and that's why he's not really satisfied. Like, he's happy but not satisfied, which is one of the good things. Like, he's kind of an entrepreneurial business creative person, which is good. Now, I know most of you watching this are very business people, are probably focused on like monetary and business goals like I am, or investing goals, because that's why a lot of you guys follow me, right? But a lot of you watching this might have family goals. Like, you might have creative goals, you might have health goals, you might have body goals. Maybe you want a six-pack, maybe you want a girlfriend. And then, okay, so what happens if you get your six-pack? Trust me, I've had a six-pack. Mine comes and goes. I can get in good shape. It's not as, once you get it, like, it's great, but then, like, where do you go from there? Like, okay, then maybe you want to put on a few pounds of muscle, maybe you want to be able to run a marathon, and then, you just keep switching up your goals. And that's kind of what I'm saying here. So I'm going to bring this actually to Bill Gates. I'm going to give you the ultimate business success and why he's happy and never satisfied. So Bill Gates, he just wanted to build a computer. He loved computers. That's all he wanted to do. So he learned everything he could know about that, achieved that goal. He built his own computer, achieved that goal. Next thing he wanted to do was build personal computers for everyone, like consumer computers. Did that goal. Next, he wanted to give computers to fucking everyone. Become $1 billion company. Did that. And the next thing, he became the richest man in the world. He's literally at the top of the economic peak. So what happens when you achieve that in business? I'm gonna give you this example. I've given it in videos before. So when Bill Gates hit this economic peak, he switched his goal. All of a sudden, he hit the all-time business peak, and then he's like, you know what? Let's eradicate polio from Africa. And so he spent millions maybe $1 billion, and that's what happened because of his donations and a lot of other donations and people working. Polio's not really a thing in Africa anymore. And so now he's doing work with the Gates Foundation where he wants to change the world in a different way other than computers. So he found a way to always be climbing that hill, because think about it. He started the computer stuff. He was climbing that hill, hit the top, and then he's like, you know what? Let's just do some charitable stuff and some Gates Foundation stuff. Started at the very bottom. He's climbing that hill right now. Maybe when he hits the top hill, like, oh, I want to start a robotics company. Let's just fucking start right there. Something like that, right? And so we're going to bring this back to like why entrepreneurs, I think, are a lot happier. So I've kind of talked about this already, is like how entrepreneurs, successful ones, are happy but not satisfied, because a lot of the times when you become successful, when you make that $1 million, like I've talked to so many people like this, when you make that, even the first 500 grand or 400 grand or 300 grand, that's great. And then once the business is at its peak, what you can do, and what a lot of entrepreneurs do, is they become investors that start to grow other companies. And so they can just keep investing. Like Warren Buffett, he invests in every 2 years, he invests in a new company, and it's a new challenge for him. And that's why he's happy. See, it's not because of the money. Like, there's, as I said, like, how many artists, actors, singers do you know that fucking flamed out, got into drugs and stuff because they achieved that success and they didn't know what to do afterwards? And so I think a lot of business people actually do have that advantage, where if they really wanted to start from the ground up again, they can do a completely different venture and just try again. Like like Elon Musk is a really good example of this, actually, how, you know, he started, I think it was X.com or something, and he made like 20 or 40 million dollars off that. Then he started then in his next venture he went into PayPal. You know, made $140 million off that. He could have just stopped. He's like, you know what, I'm done. But no, he invests all that money into Tesla, and into Solar City and SpaceX. And those were at different times too. So he's constantly just, you know, climbing that hill all the time. And sure, it's stressful, but that's also makes you happy. And I don't think that people realize that is the success itself. And this is coming personally too. The success itself doesn't make you happy. It's the journey to the success that makes you happy. I mean, I've talked about the $70,000 rule, where once you make $70,000 a year, there's no amount of money that will make you happier. It's more about how you achieve that money, what you do with that money, what you do to get that money, kind of stuff like that will increase your happiness after that income level. It's not the money itself. And sorry that this is a random video. There's going to be a few more of these videos like this, where I just kind of want to share my opinion on some things that aren't necessarily like investing tips and stuff. So I hope that this helps you, and I hope that a lot of you young people watching this, when you do become a success, this is going to sound weird, but don't be satisfied. Because I think that's the downfall for a lot of people. Like, when you think you're at the peak of your life, in the peak of your business, in the peak of your job, of your career, that's when people start to become unhappy. And so I would just say that try to be happy, but always strive for more. Anyways, guys, that's going to kind of wrap this video up. Sorry, this is kind of a little bit of a downer video, but also kind of like uplifting video. No, it's not uplifting. Fuck it. Anyways, it's just a piece of advice coming from me that is important. And just never be satisfied, but try to be happy. So I'd like to thank you very much for watching. You're all very beautiful people. Leave a thumbs up if you did like this. If you liked this video, actually, and you want me to do more videos like this, just leave a like button. I'll check it and see if it gets more or less likes, and I'll maybe make more videos like this. So thank you very much for watching. Yeah, you're all very beautiful people. I'll see you guys in the next video.